It's not safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace. None in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going. It's not safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace. None in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.
What's going on, guys? It's your host, your boy, George McKay, back in studio again today. Springtime is here. More importantly, WrestleMania is here. It's a big time of the year for us wrestling fans, and I got a good one today. Straight Talk Wrestling is due for a tune-up, and there's nobody better than Amber Nova. Welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Ready to tune up Straight Talk Wrestling. Got my grease rag here in the garage. Coming to you right here from the garage with the Nova. Oh, the only thing I forgot was to wear my Nova Mania shirt. Nova Mania. Boom.
That's right. But I do like that shirt. That is a kick-ass shirt you got on right now. So perfect.
Thank you.
And that's available at prowrestlingtees.com, right?
Yes, it is. You guys can get my shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/AmberNova.
Perfect. So Amber, I mean, you have had a really impressive career since you debuted in 2016. You've been in the business for going on. It is your 5-year anniversary. So happy 5 years. That's incredible.
Thank you.
So we all know the history. You're a daughter of a mechanic, and you wanted to destroy the stigma of women and muscle cars. And I think you have done that. Your character
Thank
is fantastic.
you.
And I love everything about it. But I got to ask, there's so many muscle cars, and I know the Nova is a personal favorite. But if you didn't have the Nova in your life, what's the next go-to for you?
Wow. So my dad restored, American muscle cars his whole life. He had a 69 SS Nova. And, Amber Chevelle just doesn't sound so catchy. Yeah, I really like Chevelles. My dad's currently restoring a 69 SS Chevelle, bright blue. I guess that I really love Dodge Challengers. I mean, I know it's kind of crazy. I'm going away from the Chevy, even though I'm a Chevy girl. I love Dodge Challengers. I love what they did with the new style of the Charger and Challenger, where it's still 70s American Muscle style, but it was in modern when they brought it back with a more modern look. So, yeah.
All right. That's not bad. I'm not a big car guy, but I do have one dream car, and I'm going to do it when I hit my midlife crisis. It's a 1967 Shelby GT 500. That is my...
Oh, of course. A Mustang. Of course.
Well, and also Gone in 60 Seconds is like one of my favorite movies, and they destroyed that car in that movie. But
that is a damn good movie. It is.
It's the only movie Nicolas Cage I can tolerate his acting. A lot of other movies I can, but that one I can't.
Ouch, burn.
Sorry, I'm not a big Cage guy. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So I know that you had some great time with Impact, and you also had some great time with NXT. And I know that Gail Kim was your agent, and you've stated on record that she was fantastic. They kept bringing you back. And what I loved about your time in Impact is that you pretty much were the opponent of a lot of debuts.
Yes.
Su Yung, and you were the opponent for both. And you also, when you debuted, you were against Ali. And that was kind of the first taste we had really seen of Ali in the ring as well. So you kind of were brought back to, I guess, usher in the new faces of the knockout division. How does that feel from you, knowing that you kind of helped usher in these characters, but now seeing the division where it stands now? We're talking 3 years ago, but now it's night and day to where the division is. It's one of the best in wrestling, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree. I would be happy and I'd welcome the opportunity to go work at Impact again. Currently, I'm working with SWE Fury TV out in Texas, and we got Jazz, who works with Impact, who's overlooking the women's division. So I'm sure that there'll be opportunities for me out there. And I'm open-minded to everything. But yes, like you said, ushering these women in, you're right. I did a lot of matches with some debuts, and the reason they kept bringing me back was because I could obviously hang in the ring with these girls. And that was my first TV experience. So I was just getting my first experiences in my first year or two in against these girls that had been wrestling, almost 10 years. So it's pretty great.
Absolutely. And the matches were, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, they were all losing efforts, but stories were told and they were short matches. I mean, 2018 to where we are now, the matches are a lot longer for the women's division. And that's
Yes.
a credit to the fans that have pushed for it and the women that have put the work in. That's that we can't take anything away from all the ladies that have put the work in. I mean, I'm a proud girl dad. I got 2 daughters. One is 11,
Aw.
one is 4. And they are diehard wrestling fans like me and my wife are. And it's great to expose them to the business now where they actually can have some positive role models and idols to look up to. And I think that's a huge leap and bounds from where we were before. If this was the Attitude Era, I would not be showing my daughters anything that women in wrestling were doing.
Yes, I agree completely with you on that. The women's wrestling has obviously changed so much with the Charlotte Flairs and the Sasha Banks really breaking the stigma with women's wrestling, like how I'm breaking the stigma with women in cars. And yeah, the Attitude Era was, obviously a lot of TNA and pillow fights, things like that. But I mean, even though Gail Kim was in that era and that time, she still kicked ass when she did have opportunities in the ring to wrestle. No, women were not main eventing like they are now, but she still kicked ass and they had some pretty amazing matches. Like I mentioned, I'm working with Jazz, women like that. So yes, just to have these little girls have some women to look up to, like I did, it, to show that they can do anything they want to do in life. You want to drive a classic car and change your own oil. You want to be a professional wrestler, a model, a bartender, anything. Like I'm a former EMT as well. So yeah, that's really great. I'm happy to know that, your little girls have, women out there, even in the professional wrestling scene to now look up to. So I'm going to second that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let's touch on the EMT stuff for a minute, because that's a hard job. That's a lot of long hours. That's seeing a lot of craziness. And kudos to you, because that's not an easy thing to do. I've always thought about it, but then, I mean, I love blood and guts as much as the next guy. I'm a horror movie fanatic, but in a movie and real life, it's 2 very different extremes. I gotta ask though, EMTs, I have a cousin who's an EMT, and sometimes they have some pretty funny calls. Is there ever
Yeah.
do you have a story from your EMT days, something funny that kind of happened where somebody kind of got something stuck where they might have not should have been able to, or something like that?
Oh man, so the firemen I used to work with, my partners had stories out the flazoo of just craziness. Yeah, we worked long hours, 24-hour shifts. I worked 36-hour shifts, no sleep, running calls back and forth. Man, something funny. Geez. So there is a story of a call that I was not on,
Okay.
but I know a buddy told me about. It was Sun City, where I'm from, out in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. So it's right off Hilton Head, Bluffton area. So Sun City's where like a lot of the retirement people live. Really nice houses. So if you're a swinger, you put a pineapple on your door. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard tidbits of it, but it doesn't happen where I'm from, but I have heard about it, yes.
So in Sun City, they were doing a swingers party. Yeah, and I guess, so anyways, the fireman got called for a heart attack. The fireman walked through the front door for the heart attack, and it's a bunch of naked old people. Straight up honest, they were all naked in there, and there was a bunch of them. And I was like, wow. And it was for, somebody was having chest pain. So, they called the medics, and upon arrival, we got like 8 naked old people together in a room. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like a funny story, like you said, something like that, like, yeah, they get their phone calls, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That's a story that would stick out. That would be ingrained in my memory. There's a lot of things you wouldn't want to see that day that you unfortunately had to see that day. So yes. I completely understand. Now I want to talk about Empower Wrestling. You versus Lena Lennox, if I'm saying it right. I hope I am.
Lena Lennox, yes.
Man, that match was dynamite. From bell to bell, it was absolutely fantastic. And it was great to see you be able to tell a story for a little bit longer, because you're running Impact, and we will get into the NXT run, but you're running Impact. A lot of the matches, like I said, were shorter. A lot of the matches felt a little bit like squash matches, because it was just meant to put them over. And I understand the business, I understand the way it goes, but this story was incredible. And that hammerlock reversal into the head scissor lock, I don't know how you did that. I have no idea how you pulled that off. I had to rewatch that sequence at least 4 times. I'm like, I don't know how you twisted your body in ways that a human body should not be able to twist.
Oh, it's not that bad. You just roll. So if someone has me in a hammerlock, we're standing up, I'll grab the back of their head and I'll start to squat myself down, pull them down to the ground with me. And now if we're both on the ground, I can then roll over to my shoulder, hook them with my legs, head scissor them down, and then they have to let go of the hammerlock.
Right. But it like, you're a lot more flexible than I am, Amber, and that's because you've had training and you eat right and you do all the things. A guy my size, I wouldn't be able to do. I get cramps all over. So pulling that off.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And then the Nova driver for the win. And I love the Nova driver. The Nova driver is a great finisher. It is something that reflects you and who you are. But I think you and Lena brought the best out in each other that night. Would you agree that she's probably one of your favorite opponents that you've had to date?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed working with her. She was great to work with. She was tough as hell in the ring. And we were actually, like, I think, opening match. I think we were the first match that night. So we really set the tone for the show. And yeah, she's a tough cookie. Like, we pulled off a lot of good stuff in the ring, I thought, and it worked great.
You did. And another great match is somebody who else I'm going to have on the show a couple of weeks after you was a match with Maddie Rakowski at Hurricane.
Yes, that is one of my favorite matches. I think one of my best matches. Maddie, I'll tell you what, Maddie had only had a couple matches, like less than 10, I think she told me. Don't quote me, but she was brand new. I think she had less than 10 matches under her belt. And I was like, all right, well, cool, no big deal. I'm going to hopefully teach you some things and you'll learn some stuff. And it was pretty great. And now, you see her, she's on AEW Dynamite, I think.
Yep.
She's got a match.
AEW
so yeah.
Dark and all that stuff, and she's killing it.
Oh, no, not Dynamite. Yes, sorry, AEW Dark. Yep.
Yeah, that's okay. She's still AEW. She's still on AEW. She's getting her name out there. And that match was great. I loved the story that you guys told. I love the smack talk. I love the smack talk from her at the beginning of the match. I love the smack talk from you. And the crowd was very soft when you guys got out there. But as the story was told and the story unfolded, the crowd got more behind both of you. And at the end of the match, again, another Nova driver for the win. And what can we say? It was a great story that was told. And you could always tell if that's the first time you've wrestled somebody, instant chemistry. I think you two had that instant in-ring chemistry. And you could just
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah, it was fluid and it was a great story told. And I call wrestling myself the ultimate dance. Because when you're in there with that dance partner. There's no words, occasional smack talk, but really no words. And it's all about the story being told in the match and how the match unfolds. And I think that story was fantastic. And I think that match for me is one of my personal favorites. It's one of my personal favorites.
Thank you.
Is there
Thank you.
Is there anything about that match that stands out to you?
Pretty much everything you said. We had instant chemistry. I think we really gave it our all, hard hitting, everything. And for being so young and she was pretty inexperienced, she was great to work with. I mean, I think it was a good match.
Absolutely it was. And it's kind of funny because you're now working with Jazz at that organization you mentioned, but she was also trained by Jazz. So
yes,
that's kind of full circle situation right there, right? You worked with one of Jazz's trainees. Now you're working side by side. And you mentioned women in that era where women weren't really respected. We talked about, Jazz. We talked about Gail Kim. We talked about all those. But were there any other women that you looked up to for inspiration from that time period?
Oh yeah, plenty of women. For instance, Melina, I was just working with her. She's working with SWE as well. And yeah, Victoria, Lita, Trish, Medusa, Luna Vachon. There's just so many women that I've watched growing up. Even with the Attitude Era, everything. Stephanie McMahon. I just love everything she's been doing with the company for so long now. And yeah, it's been great. And that's just a few names that I watched looking up to.
Well, you mentioned Stephanie McMahon, so that's a perfect segue into the NXT side of stuff. So you were in NXT in 2018. You had a great singles match with Nikki Cross, and you were able to tag with Rebel against two of my favorite ladies in the business.
Yes.
Sarai and the Pirate Princess, Kairi Sane. I absolutely love Kairi Sane. I've loved her from the minute I saw her at the Mae Young Classic. She impressed me so much. So let's talk about the match with Nikki Cross, because Nikki Cross is somebody who's not the conventional wrestler. She's not.
She was one crazy bad. I'll tell you what, that was my debut match for NXT. You know, I used to get my gear airbrushed, and because like how I do like my own grease rags, I do these myself. But my gear, like I would get airbrushed by someone. It was faded. I mean, I just was thrown in there. It was like an unexpected thing to get my debut, but it was great. I think I really gave her that tune up when I got in the ring with her. No, you know, obviously I didn't get the win, didn't get the victory, but I feel like I really kicked ass though. And yeah, that was great. It was great working with her. And I'd known her previously like, you know, from the indies and stuff.
Tagging with Rebel against Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. Io Shirai, who is now like hands down, I think she's almost at Asuka's record or close to Asuka's record for the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. That tag match, I was able to find that on the network, which was cool. And I was able to go back and watch it. And that tag match was awesome. It was really, really, really good. I mean, I got to work with two of the top women from Japan, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, and tag with Rebel and Tanea Brooks. And, you know, I wish I wish I would have got a little bit more in the match than I did, but it was pretty great still. And then I think they both hit the finisher on Rebel at the end, and that happened. So fortunately, another loss. No big deal. Not a big deal, but you know what? You've been with NXT and you've been with Impact, and it's two of the premier promotions in North America. There's also AEW. You had MLW to mix. The list can go on and on. Those are two of the top tier promotions, though. Yeah, exactly. And I had only been in the wrestling world 2 years, and I already had 2 matches with NXT. Prior to that, the year before, I had a ton of matches with Impact Wrestling in 2017. And I only started wrestling in 2016, my first debut match. So yeah, I mean, I was only in the business pretty short time, and I was getting opportunities to get more comfortable, get experience with these women. So I got to ask, both promotions, like I said, they're top notch. The production value is fantastic. But which promotion, and it might be a loaded question, but which promotion would you say you garnered the most experience from in your time there?
Let me think about it. I definitely learned so much with both companies. Absolutely would be welcome the opportunity to go back to either company and keep working with them. I really just want to hop around. I want to get as much experience as I can everywhere I can. You know, I wrestled in other countries too. And I mean, my agents were just different. Like Gail Kim was my agent at Impact. And then I had Sarah Del Rey at NXT. So I still got to learn from these veteran women, just at different styles and different women I worked. So it's really just the experience, both equal, amazing opportunities and just different learning experiences with people. So it was great. Both are great.
I'm a big Triple H guy. I love Triple H. Triple H is like my all-time. Like I was a fan of him when he was terrorizing, and I even was a fan of him when he came out with the curtsy and the old English stuff. I was through it all. Okay, I was loyal.
Hunter Helmsley, right?
Absolutely, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with the curtsy right before the pedigree. When I was a kid, he used to come out. I used to do the curtsy. I did in my privacy of my own home with nobody around. I did. But
that's great.
Do you have any like? Because I know Triple H is very involved. He's there with the production. As soon as you come through the curtain, he's there giving you guidelines or suggestions. Any kind of advice that Triple H passed on you, or any interactions with anybody else? Like you mentioned Stephanie McMahon. Did you have any interactions with her or Triple H?
I have had a good few talks with Steph, and very polite. She's such, I mean, I just get like this parent vibe off of both of them, like a mom and pop, like, and it's just very great. Like even just working with them, being around them, they care about their talent. Triple H, very brief, quick interactions. He's a very busy man. But yeah, and now like I said, now that I'm working with SWE Fury's TV tapings, you know, I got Teddy Long, I got Jazz, and hopefully more creativity to play on my character and everything I have going on.
Right. And your character, predominantly everywhere you've wrestled so far, your character has been a face. You are a good girl. You are standing up for the people, all that kind of stuff. But is there anywhere you've been able to cut loose and play that heel side of things?
My first debut match, I was a heel. I'll have you know, my first few years, I was a heel. I came out with the wrench. I, you know, tuned people up. I choked them with the wrench. I cheat. Yeah, I was a heel for a few years, and I was told that I was a pretty good heel. And now I'm just like, you know, American muscle, baby face. But yes, Impact Wrestling, my matches there. I was a heel with Allie, my debut TV match. I was a heel against Nikki Cross, if you guys don't remember as well.
But I didn't get that vibe. I didn't get that feeling. I felt like the crowd was divided. And even during the Allie match,
yeah,
the crowd was a little divided. I didn't really get that. You weren't getting that heel heat. So
yeah. I mean, if I'm cheating using my wrench, I would get lots of heat. And I have done that plenty of times in the Indies shows against Rosemary. One of my I was like, my 12th match maybe against Thea Trinidad, Zelina Vega. I was a heel against her. So yeah, those are some matches you guys can YouTube and check out me being a heel, because I was pretty mean, I think.
But I always ask this question, and I always get different answers from depending on who the talent is I'm speaking with. Do you like playing the heel, or do you like playing the hero? Like what do you like playing more?
Everybody has a little good and a little evil in them, right? So if I had to pull out a few tools in my box to try to win against these people with more experience, I'd use the wrench. I'd do what I got to do. But yes, I like being your American muscle mechanic, your American girl. I like inspiring people. So there's that good side of me where it's just, maybe I'm just hard to hate, but I don't think so. But yeah, I guess I do like being a superhero. I like being supernova.
And I think the face side suits you, but I do like when you do cut loose and you play a heel, because I think you can have more creativity when you can cheat and you can do those things, right? So
right. I
think the creativity is a little bit more on the heel side of things, in my opinion.
Gotcha. You are right. Heels sometimes can have more fun than the baby faces, and they can be real assholes about it. Excuse my language.
No, but good.
For instance, Lacey Evans is from the same town as me, and up in Beaufort, South Carolina. So I got my grease rag gimmick. I tune people up in the ring and I baby face it, but she pulls it out of her hanker and she throws it on them, wipes her armpits, and then tosses it on them real nasty like a heel. So yes, you're right. Sometimes heels can have more creativity than a baby face who's not going to wipe their armpits and throw it in their opponent's face. We're trying to have a clean wrestling match. Who's proved to me that you're the better wrestler than me,
So out of all the promotions that you've wrestled with and all the knowledge that you gained and all the places, because you've wrestled all over the world, and it's a hard question to ask, but everyone has a different place. I've interviewed Masha Slamovich, a great talent, up-and-coming talent from the New York area. She spent a lot of time in Japan, especially during this COVID time period. She's a Japan girl. She loves Japan. But then I've also spoken to other wrestlers who say they've gone to Puerto Rico and they've loved the experience in Puerto Rico, experience in Cuba, because every different place you wrestle has a different flavor and a different style when it comes to the fan base and how they run their shows. You've wrestled a lot of places. Where is one of your favorite places to wrestle?
No, I have never wrestled in Canada. Not yet. I was in talks with a few promotions, I think, prior to COVID. I would be happy to come and tune up Canada. When
COVID is behind us and we're safe to travel and restrictions kind of lift and we figure out what the new normal is going to be, you have to come down here and you got to wrestle in the GTA. You got to wrestle Mississauga. You got to wrestle Destiny Wrestling. You got to wrestle Barrie Wrestling. Ontario, where I am, has a fantastic scene here. And the women here are top notch. We got girls that, you know what? You might be the queen of the tune-ups. You might be able to come here and knock some heads in, but these girls will give it right back, because Canadian girls, they don't fuck around and they hit 10 times harder. I can promise you that.
10 times harder than American Muscle? I don't know about that. We'll have to test out the American Muscle to the Canadians, but we'll try it.
All right, that's cool. The gauntlet has been thrown. So any Canadian, awesome Canadian talent like Alexi Nicole, Jody Threat, hit her up on the DM. Start telling her about the Canadian girls. She needs to know. She needs to know what she's gonna get here.
All right, let's bring it.
So in terms of the cars, because your dad's a mechanic and you know so much about automotive, so I know nothing. I know it needs gas and oil, and I don't do my own oil changes. Okay, I don't. I don't. Electronics is my thing. Cars is not. I trust mechanics to
do the check. And I got oil jugs. I got my tools. I got my station over here.
So what's the one thing you love to do on the car? Like when you have to do work, is it brake jobs? Is it, something to do with the tires? I mean, I don't know much. Is it like engine work? What is the one thing you love to do when you have to do a little tune-up on your car?
Washing it, waxing it, making sure it looks clean and pretty, just like putting my makeup on, Yeah, changing the oil, just maintenance, upkeep. I like not having to fix things that break. So yeah, that's good. And it's, engine's been rebuilt, restored. My dad did that. And yeah, it's my baby. It's my second 73 Nova. And yeah, I prefer not having to do anything on the car because that means it doesn't need anything.
True, that's true. And you use that's been in a couple of your promos, which you sent me. They are fantastic promos. I love everything that you do. You're such a welcome and warm personality. And obviously you're very easy on the eyes and you can handle yourself in the ring. You are the total package. And,
thank you.
And no, well, you don't need to thank me because it's the truth. I'm not kissing your butt. I'm being honest with you. And you can handle yourself in the ring. And you make everything so seamless. This conversation has been fantastic. And that's what I say. I don't do I do conversations. And we still have a bit of time left for sure. But your time in NXT, with all the knowledge that you were soaking up there, like you said, brief interactions with Triple H and stuff like that, was there any like a defining moment or memory that you remember about your time period in NXT that you kind of carry with you? Because sometimes the smallest nugget of inspiration comes in the craziest places. So was there anything that somebody passed on to you, a little nugget of knowledge from your time in NXT or even in Impact when you were working with Gail Kim? Is there anything that somebody passed on to you, even an interaction, a 5-minute water cooler, you're at the cooler and all of a sudden William Regal walks over and he goes, hey, do this, this, and this, and that'll change things. Anything cool like that happen?
Absolutely. Learning from, like I said, Sarah at NXT, getting to step into the ring, roll around with everybody, learn from everyone. Same with, the match with Io Shirai and Kairi Singh, like getting into the ring, getting to talk and watching people go over their entrances, inspiring me. I just observing every bit of detail that you possibly can. The less that you talk, the more you learn. Learning from Norman Smiley. I had brief interactions there, like, I've been working on trying to get a tryout so they can really see all of me. So working on that. COVID, I think, slowed some things down, but I am pushing for that. As well as, like Gail Kim, that babyface fire she has, like just growing up watching her matches, learning critiques, Matt Seidel's helped me, backstage at Impact, and he gave me some advice on my tune-up where I do the head scissors and I smash their head in the top turnbuckle. He's like, instead of doing it a couple times, let's just do it one big ass time. And that was a nice pointer out. And then I had people that helped me with little things that were like, footwork, move, style. Yeah, just thinking back to a couple memories, and they're all just fluttering in at the same exact time. Learning, just really just observing, lots of observing. My trainer, Lindsay Dorado, who's now in the Lucha House Party, or has been currently for a while now, he really taught me a lot. And he's tough as hell in the ring, tough as hell. When he trains, he holds nothing back. It doesn't matter if you're a girl. And I think that's why you said, I think that really helps me with my in-ring work. So
why it shouldn't matter if you're a girl. If you're there to train, you're going to work. You're going to take the bumps just like everybody else does, because when you're in the ring and you do have to take those hard bumps, guess what? You'll be better prepared than somebody whose trainer may have taken it a little bit softer.
Right.
It doesn't matter. This industry now has been one of the first sports industries. And yes, it is sports entertainment, but it's still a sport industry. It's one of the first to say that, no, women aren't second place. We're going to put them right there. And it took a lot of women to knock down those doors, break through the walls, all that stuff. Before the interview, right before yours, that's going to be dropping, is one I had with my favorite diva of all time, which is Maria Canales. I was able to sit down with her.
Great.
And she actually gave me an awesome quote. And the quote was about the divas, like revolution or the evolution, and how that real crop of divas really were pushing for more. Her, Michelle McCool, all of them were pushing, fighting for, scratching for more. And she said, the first one through the wall gets the bloodiest. And she said, if you look at me, I've got blood all over me because I was one of the first through the wall. But guess what? What do we have now? We have just as much equal time as men. We're main eventing. We're doing the things that we should have been able to do decades ago.
Exactly.
And
with the Charlotte, now you have the Charlotte Flairs, like I said, the Sasha Banks, all of them, which are who inspired me to pursue professional wrestling in the first place. Because I didn't think I could do it when I was younger. And when I was an EMT, I was like, oh, I probably can't do it. Not because I don't physically or mentally think I can, but you have to know somebody, or you have to look like, China. The size was a big thing. I'm obviously one of the smallest female competitors out there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But size is only literally a stigma. If you could,
right.
We've seen some wrestlers who are 4'1" go up against guys who are 7 feet tall and knock them on their ass. So size is literally just a stigma. It is.
Yep.
So where does the love for pro wrestling come from? Because dad's a mechanic, you got the love for cars there. I get the connection there. And you were an EMT, and you had your life was kind of set. And all of a sudden you decide, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the lead.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a pro wrestler. But where did the love for pro wrestling begin? And what made you decide, fuck it, now's the time. Amber Nova's got to go. Got to do it now.
So the same person that got me into classic cars, American Muscle, is Dad. Dad took us to wrestling shows when me and my sisters, my brother were little. I used to watch it. Like, I'm one of 5 kids, 4 girls and a boy. I'm the middle child, but I was the only one sitting on the couch always watching wrestling.
Sorry, 4 girls? 4 daughters?
Huh?
4 daughters.
Yeah, my dad has 4 daughters and 1 boy.
Oh my God, bless your heart, sir. I have 2, and some days it's a struggle for me. Bless your heart. You are an inspiration to fathers everywhere. I applaud you, sir. I applaud you. I do.
Thanks. My dad, Ed, would really appreciate that.
Ed, I applaud you, sir. I do. 4 daughters.
Yeah, so Dad, 4 girls, 1 boy. I'm the middle child, and I was the troublemaker. So,
no, not you.
I mean, wouldn't you expect it, right? So, watching wrestling with Dad growing up, and then that's when I finally saw the Orlando Performance Center, the young women training coming up, the Bailey, the Sasha Banks, the Carmella, the Charlotte, and I was like, wow, I can really try and go for this. And Dad encouraged me all the way. He goes, well, you better do it now, not later. And so my dad and my mom actually came down with me to Orlando when I was 22. We checked out the dojo. We met some people at a wrestling show, and I said, okay, a bunch of girls and guys and sweaty guys and girls in a ring, teach me what I need to know. And if you don't and you can't, I'll jump ship and go to the next school that will, until I figure out who's going to train me the best and take care of me. And I got to learn from a lot of different people, amazing opportunities. People I used to grow up watching, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, just so many different people. I got to learn from Saraya Knight, Paige's mom. I did seminars with Kevin Sullivan, Marty Jannetty. Like, I just tried to learn from as many people as I could, and I still do. And so that's what got me into pro wrestling. I moved with just a Nova and a dream. I didn't know anybody. I left my career job as an EMT back home, moved to Orlando, Florida, started training, and just got as many opportunities as I could, and I'm still going. So I'm hoping that I'll be on, get a full TV contract soon. You guys will see me, regularly on TV weekly, but we'll see when that'll happen. With COVID, things are just crazy. No audience. It's just,
So how actually has that been? Because you are obviously still working. You're working more steadily than others, for sure. And see, here in Canada, there's no shows. There's no shows. We don't have anything over here. Whereas in the States, things are opening up. You're at least allowed to wrestle in front of 50 people, sometimes 100, depending on the size of the venue and how they could space them out. Obviously, there have been other situations where a lot of indie companies are starting up YouTube pages, and they're doing those kind of just matches in the ring. Have you wrestled with no crowd? And if you have, don't you miss that element? That's a hard element.
Yes. I have wrestled with no crowd. Even last summer during COVID, we had tiny shows of just 10 people spaced out. But I've wrestled in front of no one. And, this coming Saturday, I'll be wrestling in Canton, Texas for SWE Fury's TV taping. And they're expecting 1,000 people possibly, or it can hold up to 1,000 people, but they're expecting, and when I wrestled them a few weeks ago, and it was a few hundred. several hundred people. You know, everyone wears masks, social distance at your discretion. And I know, like, in certain states here, like South Carolina, they did away with social distancing. Now it's just you wear a mask. Our restaurants, our gyms, a lot of things are open still. Just people are trying to live their life and survive, because you have to work and survive. And then just doing our best to keep everyone safe and clean.
Wow, we are doing the same thing. Yet our government has its heads up its ass. We have no gyms open. I'm wearing a hat because I haven't had a haircut in months.
Oh wow! Your wife doesn't cut your hair.
She does, but she actually hasn't cut it in. She hasn't cut it in a few weeks, but she does do the fade. But it's not the fade.
Not the same, right?
It's not the same fade. It's not the same fade. I love my wife to death. I've loved her. We've been together for 18 years, and she is an amazing wife, an amazing mother.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But sometimes you need your barber. Sometimes.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
But we haven't been able to do anything. No shows. In the summertime, we did have parking lot shows. We had to social distance, all that stuff. But because it's a little bit colder up here, it's hard to have outdoor shows. Like, you can't do that in minus 20-degree weather. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, the stigma of Canada is not that we all live in igloos. We have houses and we have buildings. But, you know, like, a lot of people think, oh, you can't just wrestle in the winter. Well, it's only winter for 4 months out of the year in Ontario. So, you know, it's not winter all the time. But springtime is coming. When the time this drops, hopefully there'll be some shows. But yeah, we haven't had the ability to do any of that stuff. And it sucks because we see all the great things you guys are doing over there. Mask free. Texas is mask free. Like, that's incredible, right?
Thank you. Yes.
And we can't do that. And that's a kudos to everything you guys are doing, but also you guys are getting the vaccine a lot faster. And that's a great thing. And so when you're at the shows and you have those interactions with fans, obviously you have all the protocols are in place. Everyone takes temperature. Everyone does the screening at the doors. And if they want to come up and say hi to you and stuff like that, how do you approach those situations now? You still welcome them? Oh, yeah, I'll take a picture, mask on, of course, take the picture and say goodbye? Or?
Yes, pretty much, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'll even shake hands with some people still, but I use hand sanitizer always right next to me. You know, I always have the alcohol spray or sanitizer right next to me. Mostly I've been trying to encourage fans not to shake hands or extend handshake. Let's just wave at each other. Oh, hey, what's up? Like, obviously this is I call it the Pocahontas wave. Oh. The Pocahontas wave. Hi. Hello.
Or you can do the elbow. You can be like, hey, what's up? There, boom.
Yeah. Or I fist bump, or, you know, there's no need to really have to all be touching each other and social distance, wear the masks. So, I mean, I'm still getting to meet the fans, and that's the best part. I mean, it really is.
Absolutely. And I got to ask, because obviously without shows, it's not been a good session of shows. There's been breaks in between. Obviously you're doing everything you can to stay in ring shape, to stay ring ready, because ring rust is a real thing. If you don't wrestle for a while, people don't know that the bumps you can take the first time back after a few weeks, they could be killer. But are you adding anything to your repertoire? Are you learning any level up moves that we could expect to see from you in the future? Are you adding stuff to your arsenal? I like to call it the level up moment. Are you increasing your style?
So to answer your question, yes, I am always shifting gears. I'm always in the ring training, trying to learn new things. I do hot yoga. I work out where I can. I get, a lot of in-ring stuff. So yes, to answer your question, I am constantly shifting gears, always trying to just keep learning and improving and never staying, what would you call it? Just people get
not staying stagnant or complacent.
Complacent. That's the word. And I don't want to ever be complacent.
Absolutely. So, cars do a lot of great things. They take sharp turns. They go on tight corners. You can drift. You can do all these amazing things. And a lot of cars could take some serious air. So I guess because, you went shifting gears, you went with the car reference, I have to go for the reference. When will we see Supernova take flight on a more regular basis? I've seen you do some stuff in matches, but when will we see you take flight on a regular basis? Like, that's what I'm talking about. When are we going to add those type of moves to your repertoire on a regular basis? Not just surprise me, but make it something consistent. You know what I mean?
So all my matches, they are consistent. They always have my signature move, the tune-up. I have a Nova Lights suplex, my Nova driver, my wheelbarrow, or I do a springboard stunner. So, I always put in my signature stuff. I've got a few submissions that I've been working on and trying out on my opponents in the ring, but I haven't come up with a few names for them. Like, I think I used to do the cattle mutilation. I call it the Nova lock because I have them locked in.
What about American Muscle? Why don't you call one American Muscle?
Well, I have this leg scissors. I do a few different submissions. I don't know. American Muscle just doesn't seem like a real torque. You know, I'm really torquing my opponent or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think so. I use the tune-up, the Nova driver, my Nova like suplex. Maybe I'll do a tire rotational.
That could be your moonsault. Tire rotation is your moonsault. That would be dope.
I actually don't do a moonsault. I mean, I'm small, like 100 pounds, and half my opponents are always bigger than me. So what's a moonsault really going to do to them?
That's true. Crossbody flash. Yeah, that's true. But that's what I was
I do crossbodies.
Yeah, for sure. That's and you know what? But always leveling up. That's the most important thing, and never staying complacent. That's the most important thing. And I think you're doing that well. And if there is 2 more questions, I think we'll wrap it up. If there is a young fan out there, and you know they look up to you, you're kind of the inspiration for them. What would be the one piece of advice? I mean, obviously you're only 5 years in yourself, and you're learning every day. I learn every day. Everybody learn. You never stop learning, and if you do stop learning, there's no point in living, because you should always learn and grow and evolve and change. So
very positive. I agree.
Thank you very much. You have a lot more, obviously, learning to do, as we all do in life. But if there's a young fan out there that wants to get into business and they're looking for any kind of advice you would be willing to pass on from the knowledge you've gained, what would you say to them?
So to any of my young, inspired fans out there, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for always getting geared up with me. You guys really give me the drive that I need to keep pushing through and continue, especially in crazy times in the world right now. So I just want to say thank you for giving me that drive, and to pay back, to give you guys some drive. So I really, like, that's another signature thing, like we were talking about in the ring. I call it Nova Drive. You know, I hit like a hurricanrana, I hit something big, and I yell Nova Drive. This is it. I'm coming back. Fire, fire, fire. So that's what you need in life. You need fire. You need drive. And I don't mean just like, oh, I like something, I'll do it. You have to have real drive, real dedication, and do your research. Learn as much as you can. You know, the less you talk, the more you listen, the more you learn. I just want to tell you guys that I was just like that. I did a 2015 Tough Enough video, and I auditioned for Tough Enough. They aired it all over WWE program, Monday Night Raw, pay-per-views. I even got an interview, but I didn't make the cut of the show, which I'm glad I didn't. Things happen in life for reasons. I learned so much more than having thrown that show where I knew nothing. So I used to think things like that could never happen for people like me, right? As an EMT, I'm a small girl. I probably, I don't know how hard it is to wrestle. I never, I did a little jujitsu or a little training here and there, but yeah, pro wrestling, I mean, I'm not China. Don't ever limit yourself. To my Nova heads out there, keep your Nova drive. Don't ever limit yourself. Don't ever tell yourself you can't do something, because it's just unlimited potential you're holding back. Don't hold back. Unlock that potential. Keep that drive and go for it. I moved to Orlando with a Nova and a dream, and I'm kicking ass everywhere. I've wrestled in other countries. And yeah, I'm just getting started. So always keep that drive. You guys, thank you for giving me my drive. And yeah, just don't doubt yourself. Don't talk negatively about yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Compliment yourself in the morning instead of going, oh crap, my hair looks terrible, or people are always like putting themselves down. Give yourself compliments instead, and appreciate the things you do have, not that what you don't, and you'll just see the change. Honestly, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Absolutely.
Nova drive.
That is a great piece of advice. And when I sat down with Mark Merrow, he actually gave me a really cool piece of advice, which was, don't live in time, live in moments.
There you go.
Right? The power of positivity. Since that interview, I've become a very positive person. Very
good.
Positive person. But living in time and living in moments. So I guess my final question is, I've heard you tell this story on a couple different podcasts, so I'm hoping maybe you could tell it on mine. But there was a funny story that you had with Stephanie McMahon, a moment, if you will, with Stephanie McMahon. Before we shout out all your socials and we let everybody know where they can check you out online, would you mind sharing that story with all the Straight Talk faithful? That's what we call it.
Yes, absolutely. So Straight Talk Wrestling. Yeah, I don't talk about it too much because you don't really see it. But if you look at the Celebrity Undercover Boss episode with Stephanie McMahon, that edition, I'm in the very end credits. I'm in the end credits standing at the Performance Center because I actually had a segment with Stephanie. We changed my oil in my old 73 Novas. 4-door, beat up, and pulled it into my dojo. She got underneath there and helped break my oil pan loose, and like she did it all, man. She was in a disguise. It was just the craziest thing. So I was on Stephanie McMahon's Celebrity Undercover Boss. That is how I got my new souped up Nova, become Super Nova, and got rid of the old one that was a little beat up. So when I tell you I'm really Amber Nova, Supernova, I've always had Novas back home, everything. And yeah, Stephanie was just amazing. So we're changing my oil. We're in the dojo. I got my car pulled in there. We're filming. I even actually had Eva Lise there. And Stephanie was a news reporter. She said she was a news reporter. She had blonde wig, glasses, beautiful blue country dress that went all the way to the floor. Real quiet, shy. Oh, I don't know if I can get in the ring. I don't want to get hurt. I was like, just come on through the ropes. I got you. No one will hurt you. So she watches me and Eva Lise wrestle. So we wrestle. We do a bunch of fun things together. And then eventually me and Steph sit down. And then we change the oil in my car. Well, the lights were off when I was wrestling. Once the lights flipped on and we're standing in front of my car, it hit me. It hit me like a light bulb. I was like, what am I looking at right now? What's actually going on, guys? So, yeah, I went up to the producer afterwards and I was like, hey, is that Stephanie McMahon in a wig? And he goes, who's that? And I was like, don't play dumb. You're interviewing me for wrestling and you won't tell me what the name of the show is. And it's very, very sketchy what everyone's doing. I can kind of see what's going on. So I was the first person she filmed with, actually, in Orlando.
Nice.
Jake Atlas was the other person that was filmed. So I had some tough competition with people's stories that were really like, you know, the little kids raising money and helping people. So I had some good, tough competition. There was another guy, Wardlow. He was on there. His segment was cut. So Wardlow and mine, our segments were cut from air. Now they did tell me that just because they cut the segments doesn't mean that the footage will never see the light of day. So maybe one day it'll come out and we'll see it. Who knows? It's been a couple of years, so I just talk about it now. But when it first came out, I just kept it real quiet. So yeah, they helped me get my new Supernova. I got to spend some good quality time talking with Steph. And since then, I've been getting more experience wrestling out of country, all over the States, and hopefully working towards a tryout with them and future opportunities again. So yeah, it was just so crazy. And I even told my friend that was helping me with the taping, and I was like, hey, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but that's Stephanie McMahon in a wig. He's like, nope, you're definitely paranoid and crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. I've met her before and I'm not stupid. So like I said, I was the first person she filmed with. After me, they put a prosthetic nose on and they had to add more features to her.
Of course.
She's a very tall woman. She's a very tall woman too.
When you see her in the ring next to Triple H, and he's a pretty tall guy himself, and she's like,
yes,
here, they're both tall, powerful. They're a power couple of wrestling.
Power couple, yeah.
And my final question, because it's burned a hole in my pocket. The Nova is there. It's right there. Have you ever cut it loose? Have you ever taken it out for a race? Have you ever?
Oh yeah. Well, it's got a 4-barrel, 355, board 30 over. I definitely open the 4-barrel, like the barrel's open, and I gas it, and only down roads that are mostly empty or on the highway sometimes. You know, we're not going to get a speeding ticket, even though, I'll be honest, when I was an EMT and I was driving around in my Nova, I was speeding to work one day, and I didn't know if he let me off the hook because he liked my car or he just liked that I was an EMT. I couldn't tell which one.
There's probably a little bit of both. Okay, she's got a badass car and she's saving lives. I can let this slide.
I can let this slide.
I can let this slide. All right, Amber, this has been absolutely fantastic. I had a great conversation. I hope you did as well. And before we go, please let the world know where they can find Nova. Before you do that, I do want to say one thing for me to you. Thank you. You're now officially a member of the Straight Talk family. Anytime you want to come back, we would love to have you again, 150%. And I know for sure that wherever you land, you are going to turn heads and tune up everywhere you go. And I can't wait to see you
Thank you.
in a bigger stage because you deserve that. You put the work
I really
in,
appreciate that.
and you put the time in, and you've tuned up as much as you can, and you've leveled up as much as you can. So very soon you're going to be on our TVs on a weekly basis. And I know that. I know that. But that doesn't mean you can't leave indie dates open for Canada. Even if you get signed, you have to come to Canada when the borders open. Because
I would love to come to Canada. It's on my bucket list.
All right. I'm going to remember that. And when you do come to Canada, you're going to message me where and when so I can come to the show and I can see you in person.
Absolutely. I absolutely will. It'll be promoted, social media, everywhere. You'll see it. I'll make sure it's out there and you know about it.
Absolutely. Wonderful. All right. Let everyone out there know where they can find you on the wonderful world of social media.
Yes, Nova Heads. If you're not familiar with me, check out some of my matches on YouTube, Amber Nova. Go follow me on my social media, Amber Nova 73 because of the 73 Nova. Twitter, Amber Nova 73, as well as Facebook, and So hey, Nova Heads, this has been great. Make sure you tune in to Straight Talk Wrestling for a tune-up. And you can get geared up with me as well. I have signature grease rags, autographed photos, posters. You can just DM or / send me an email, inquiries. That's how that works. And yeah, thanks for gearing up with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the time today. And before I go, just to shout out my socials real quick, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Twitter, Straight Talk Wrestling at Instagram and on Facebook, and Straight Talk Wrestling on YouTube, where you're going to see this interview drop. We get a tune-up. So it's going to be awesome. So Amber, thank you so much, and stay safe. And I can't wait to see what's next for you, because I know it's going to be absolutely incredible.
You too. Thank you so much for your support. It really just makes me feel good knowing that I'm still on the right path. What I'm doing is working. It's good. I'm getting my whole character identity gimmick out there. I'm breaking stigmas and breaking down walls. And hopefully I'll just be on TV more and more to let people know who I am.
Absolutely. And we can't wait for that day. We cannot wait.
Thank you.
So that's it for me for this week, guys. As always, follow the socials. Make sure you tune in so you can see who's next week's guest is going to be. And peace, love, and wrestling. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, none in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine.